his talent and swag.
Let the music diffuse all attention. Get out my face, you people so phony.
There's no going back.
Made you look.
Oh yeah, what's going on, fam? It's your man VACAY-J, and I'm back with another video for Bel-Air episode 4 recap. Now listen, if you're loving Bel-Air and you're brand new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Absolutely like, comment below with any theories, any thoughts. And yeah, we're gonna get into this episode 4. If you missed episodes 1 through 3, definitely check out my recaps in the Bel-Air playlist so you can get all caught up on everything. All right, fam. So yeah, we're gonna break this down, and we see your boy Jeffrey is well connected. So let's get right into this thing right here. All right, so we start off with Carlton and Uncle Phil, and they're playing a little chess, right? And you know, Carlton has been, the past episodes, he's been kind of feeling down, kind of bad, because it looks like his parents are definitely giving more attention to Will. So now Uncle Phil is, playing a little chess, doing what they love to do, what they have, got bonds with, which is chess or whatever. So yeah, it looks like Carlton checkmates Uncle Phil, right? And they're having a pretty good time. Definitely says, good sportsmanship, hey, good game or whatever. So Carlton's feeling kind of good that he's bonding with his dad. He's like, yeah, I got to stop taking it easy on you. And Carlton's like, yeah, we could run that back. But he's like, nah, what we got to do is time for the campaign. And I want you and Will to hit the streets and get some signatures. So Carlton's not feeling that. He's like, why you keep pushing Will on me? He's like, listen, man, I could ground you or whatever. He's like, nah. So he's like, what's the deal? He's like, listen, if we get 30 signatures, can you allow me to go to the Grand Prix race? This real top-notch race. He's like, well, if you get 50, then I'll allow, you to go. Get 50 with you and Will, no drama. I'll allow you to go. He's like, yeah, okay, bet. So they make the deal. So Carlton makes that deal with him. Here comes Will and Lisa, and they're chatting it up. Will, of course, he's being cool, but he's still trying to holler a little bit, So he's like, yeah, when you going to come study with me? I need help with this art because I'm really not into the art thing. I really need help. So Lisa's like, yeah, I'll help you out. Not a problem. So she definitely puts him on to an artist that her and her mom used to love, Kara Walker. And she's telling her about the artist, and Will's like, okay, that's what's up, Kara Walker, whatever. But then he's like, you and your mom used to love it? Like, what happened? And basically, Lisa breaks down, and she tells Will that her mother passed away not too long ago. So, of course, Will is like, oh, man, I'm sorry. I appreciate you sharing that with me. And absolutely, I'm glad to be your friend. So he's really being cool about the whole thing. And then he flips it and says, hey, you know what? My uncle's having this roller skate campaign thing. Are you coming? And he's like, yo, can you skate? Like, are you good at skating, or do you fall all over the place? And she's like, nah, I definitely can glide all over the place. You remember that movie ATL? I'm like that. He's like, you like that? So, they little chuckle and kind of bringing the conversation around. And he's like, all right, Nunu, you know what I'm saying? We're going to see. Don't get your chain snatched, right? If y'all remember ATL, y'all know what they're talking about, right? So we see this guy looking on, and he's looking at Will. So he's looking like he's following Will around. We don't know who that is. So we see Aunt Viv, and we see Ashley, and yeah, she's braiding her hair. And she's like, yeah, when I was young, my mother braided my hair. I used to ask a whole bunch of questions, but Ashley's on her phone. She's chit-chatting, texting her friends, and she's chuckling or whatever. She's like, who's that? Right? Aunt Viv's looking down like, who is that on the phone? Little Ashley, she's like, nobody. She's like, listen, tell your friends you got to stay still because we got to get ready for this roller skate campaign thing. And Ashley's like, yo, why do we got to do all this? Why do we got to look perfect? Because it's just roller skating. She's like, nah, there's going to be a whole lot of press and everything. And we got to support your father because he supported me, with my art thing as well. So now we're looking at Will. And Will is talking to his boy Trey, of course, back home. And, they're still talking about this Rashad, right? Rashad Denton and Rashad coming after them and everything. But he's telling Trey that he wants him to come through. He wants him to come out. But yeah, Rashad is like still searching for Will and everything else like that. So, Trey's like, yo, we got to make sure we dead this beef, man. You know what I'm saying? Before it keeps going on and on and on and on. So, Will's going to try to figure out a way to get, his boy Trey out to Bel-Air. So he wants to go talk to, his Uncle Phil, but he goes into the office and sees Jeffrey sitting there, looking at some paperwork. And he was like, yo, do you know where Uncle Phil is? He's like, nah. And then he asked Jeffrey, he said, Jeffrey, do you know the real reason why I'm here? And Jeffrey's like, yeah, I know. You had a little scuffle on the basketball court, and things got crazy. And yeah, pretty much now you got a bad man from Philly. That's a, Jamaican, a bad man from Philly after you. And then he says his name, Rashad Denton, right? So Jeffrey, he knows what's going on, man. Like this Jeffrey right here, this man is well connected. Like he knows what's going on. He's like, listen, Will, don't even worry about it, man. It's all taken care of, And he's like, what? How you going to take care of it? He's like, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. It's all going to be taken care of. So Will is like, okay, all right. So he's looking at Jeffrey like, yo, Jeffrey, he's more than just a house manager. Like Jeffrey is well connected, being that he said he's going to take care of this bad man from Philly. So we're going to see what happens. All right. So now we see Ashley, and Ashley Rose, she's on interviews, right? She's interviewing with content creators. What's up to the content creators out there? Salute to my fellow content creators. And she's interviewing and, they're talking about, what can she bring to the table? And they're mostly saying like, yeah, she's just coming from kind of like one perspective, right? As far as, what she brings to the table. And she's trying to really connect with these folks, but she's not having a successful time with that. And now we see Aunt Viv. She's going through her stuff and she's there with her friend Joan, and she's talking about how she definitely wants to get back into, her artwork and everything. And Joan, that's her girl. She's encouraging her. She also sells art as well. So she's encouraging her to get back into it, and Aunt Viv was just like, yo, I wish, my name was mentioned among all the stars, that you're talking about, right? Like, Aunt Viv, come to find out, Aunt Viv really was great at, drawing and painting and everything else like that. And her name was out there. And Joan is like, yo, this is your time for you to come back, do what you need to do. And she's really a great, encouraging friend to Aunt Viv, and Aunt Viv was just like, yo, I gotta do what I gotta do. She's definitely putting the battery in her back to come back and do her thing. So Will is just thinking about everything, of course, Rashad Denton and coming after them. And kind of find out your boy Will got a little skills when it comes down to playing the piano, right? So he's playing the piano and, Hillary comes over and she's like, man, I didn't know you could play, da da da. So he gets into playing some things, you know what I mean? And yeah, he's really good at playing the piano. And she's like, man, I spent hours and hours on that thing. I still can't play as well as you. And Will talks about how, he couldn't afford a piano, but his mom drew out the keys. And that's basically how he learned how to play the piano when he went to lessons, or he couldn't afford lessons anymore. So, she's just like, man, you're like better than me and I'm still trying to figure it out. So he sits down with her to talk to her and she's like, yeah, I'm trying to find a place. I can't afford this. I can't afford that. And Will's like, oh, you basically don't have enough money to do this, that, and the third. And she's like, yeah, but, I'm trying and it doesn't seem to be working out. And Will is definitely trying to be encouraging to his cousin. And, she's telling him that, hey, Carlton's making deals with Uncle Phil. Why don't you make a deal with, Aunt Viv, so y'all everything can work out so you can get Trey out here. So, of course, Will goes over to Aunt Viv and he's talking to her and he's trying to help her out with her stuff. And he's like, hey, listen, if me and Carlton can get along and we can help with this campaign, can we get Trey to come out here, because she's like, is everything all right? He's like, nah, everything's cool. I just want him to get away. There's a lot of tension going on in Philly. And she's like, well, if you and Carlton can get this done, then absolutely, we'll see if he can come out for the weekend. So Will is happy about that. He's excited. He's like, okay, great, great, great. We're going to make it happen. So now we got the campaign meeting and we see Uncle Phil with the family. He's telling everybody what they need to do. And he's like, all right, Will and Carlton, you're going to hit the streets. And Will is like, what if I don't, if I don't know how to do this? And, Carlton's like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll show you the ropes, right? Show you the ropes. So they're like, thank you, Carlton. And Will is like, yeah, thanks, Carlton. Like, yeah, I know what's going on, so thanks. So, Uncle Phil, he's definitely excited about what's going on. He's appreciative to the family for absolutely helping him with the campaign. And then he sits down with Aunt Viv and he's like, hey, listen, I'm going to need you to kind of be cool. Just like you asked me to be cool with your art thing and not really say a lot, I need you to kind of not say everything that's on your mind. So now we see Carlton and Will, they're out in the streets. They're like, hey, we're out here for, DA for Uncle Phil. And the door opens, and as quick as the door opens and Carlton's talking, kind of showing Will the ropes or whatever, the door closes right back on him as quick as possible, right? So they ain't trying to hear it. These people like, yeah, for Uncle Phil, for DA, and then one guy, he puts his hand up. He's like, I ain't even trying to hear that, man. And he closed the door right on Will and Carlton. Like, it's not a good look. They're not getting signatures. Things are not going well. And then one brother, he's talking to Carlton. He's like, well, why should I support a man that already got money, da-da-da-da-da? He's like, well, he's successful now, and definitely a man with Carlton's trying to defend it. A man with some money can definitely help out more of the community. He's like, nah, it's all a scam. So Carlton's talking to Will like, listen, man, I'm going to need your help because you got the gift of gab, okay? So now we shoot over to the record store where Jazz works and everything, and Hillary comes through, and they meet for the first time. She's like, oh, Will, da-da-da, you drove Will up, da-da-da. So they talking or whatever, and, she's finding out more about what he does and what he knows about the record store, and she's up in there, just so happened to be up in there. And, she's talking to Jazz about getting, Instagram and everything, and she really gets into it. Meanwhile, we got your girl Ashley, and she's listening in or whatever, but it looks like she's about to skate out. So Hillary's like, listen, you got to have an IG. You got to, definitely have a social presence. And, Jazz is like, yo, I don't know nothing about that. So Hillary's going to come through and definitely help out Jazz to promote the record store, which will definitely increase sales and exposure and everything else like that. Jazz don't know nothing about it, right? He knows everything about the record store. But look at Ashley. Ashley sneaks out, puts on a little lip gloss. Why? Because she's about to go and hang out with her little friends. See, Ashley being a little sneaky, right? What's going on, Ashley? Right, so now we're at the campaign headquarters, and we see that there's a gentleman and his wife, and he's asking, of course, Uncle Phil's asking for an endorsement, asking for, a little support. And come to find out, the wife recognizes Aunt Viv as being, this really, really great artist and everything. Even though they said they got to think about something, the wife recognizes Aunt Viv. And she's like, oh, Aunt Viv's being real humble about it. She's not trying to take Uncle Phil's shine, so she's not talking too much, but she thanks the lady and they thank each other, right? So we seeing that, Aunt Viv, man, she was doing some big things when she was doing the artwork. But again, she's being supportive of Uncle Phil. And really, it's like she's kind of like diminishing her shine in order for him to shine, which is very good as far as supporting your husband when it comes down to this campaign. So, yeah, they definitely talking about strategies and how to really get more campaign signatures and how she's trying to be supportive of Uncle Phil, even though in her heart, she knows what she really wants to do, but she's still going to support her man. So Ashley goes to her little friend's house, and yeah, there's some other friends over there, and she's in there. She's like, what's going on, guys? And these guys are just on their phones. That's what they do, right? So they're all on their phones, they're chit-chatting or whatever. And yeah, Ashley snuck away from Hillary. So now Ashley's getting a little sneaky in her young age. We got to watch out and look out for Ashley, man. There's a lot going on there. So now we got Hillary, and she's recording Jazz, advertising the Charlie's Vinyl record store. And she's doing that to, her fans as well, so he can get some followers or whatever. And yeah, she's really doing her thing with the social media tip as far as advertising and exposing, Jazz and the record store, because Jazz knows a lot about records. And she's like, yeah, man, this could really blow up. I'm going to be your first subscriber, your first follower. And, Jazz is really like, man, this could really blow up like that. And she's like, yeah, so, they're happy about what's going on. He's very thankful. He's like, yo, Hillary, you're really good at, doing this thing. Like, you're really good as far as social media. And she doesn't really think like that. She's like, I don't really think so, because I'm trying to get out my mom's house, trying to get out the house and make things happen. And Jazz is just encouraging. He's like, yo, you just need to keep pushing forward. These guys are really supportive of each other. Like, the vibe here is really on some like, yo, whatever you're trying to do, you can make it happen regardless of how you feel about the situation, regardless of how you feel. They're really just encouraging each other, right? Now we see the meetup. We see your boy Jeffrey on a different tip. This is a totally different Jeffrey, man. And he's talking to the guy that was looking at Will and following Will around. We come to find out this guy's connected to Jeffrey to make sure that Will is okay. So they said they paid off Rashad, but he still wants more money. And Jeffrey's like, we ain't giving him more money, so you know what to do. We're not negotiating any more. So the guy's like, okay, Jeffrey closes his window, and it's a wrap for Rashad, okay? It's a wrap. So Will is happy because he got another signature. They're going door to door. He's using his gift to gab. And Carlton's just like, you being a little arrogant or whatever. But Carlton really approaches Will about why he's here, And he's like, yeah, it's more than just you coming to get a better education or whatever. He's like, I knew you was full of it. And Will is like, yo, forget you, man. And they go back and forth again. And then Will basically is about to bail on Carlton because Carlton's approaching him. And Carlton, again, is getting a little jealous because Will is who he is and he can definitely talk to the people and connect with the people. You know what I mean? I'm just like, if they just join forces, they can absolutely do great things, right? So we'll see. So we see Ashley with a little friend, this guy, he puts his arm around Ashley, while they're watching a movie. So she's moving over a little bit, man, here we go. But guess who shows up? My man, Jeffrey. And the mom is right there looking at them. He's like, hey, Ashley, how you doing? Time to go. You see the boy, he takes his arm from Ashley. And yeah, he's like, Ashley, it's time to go. And Jeffrey's just on some like, yeah, I was young once and all this and that. I know what's going on. I understand, but we can't be sneaking off like this. And you got to be careful out here. So he gives her a napkin to wipe off the lip gloss. He's like, listen, we ain't going to say nothing about this, but you just can't do this again. So he's really looking out for young Ashley to make sure she doesn't get in trouble and doesn't get, doing anything she ain't supposed to be doing. Right. So we back at the record store and look at your boy Will. Instead of getting signatures, he's going to see Jazz. Right. So then this producer guy comes through and he's like, yeah, man, artist is coming through. I need this crazy ill record. So Jazz is thinking. He's thinking about what the guy's asking for. He's like, I got it. And then he gets the record. And, the guy's talking to Will like, man, Jazz is my man. Like, he knows his records. He knows everything. And it's cool how Jazz knows all his records and is helping out this producer guy. So he's like, yeah, would it be cool to get you on my IG? And it was like, yo, when you get IG? It's like, well, Hillary came by, helped me out, and now I'm trying something new. And Will's like, trying something new, right? So they're taking pictures for the IG. They like, we smiling or we mobbing? Like, yeah, we mobbing. So they taking pictures. Jazz is on this new tip now where he got his IG and he's putting, some famous people in it with Will. And yeah, it's looking good for Jazz. And Jazz is trying something new to definitely bring in some more revenue for the record shop. It's like, all right, put that on my tab. And he's out. And Will is like, yo, that's cool. So he's like, aren't you supposed to be getting signatures? It's like, yeah, but I ain't trying to mess with Carlton. So Jazz makes a great point. He's like, yeah, I'm trying to get my boy out here if we get these signatures. So Jazz is like, yo, so if you bail on Carlton, how's that look for your boy? That means your boy ain't going to come out here, right? He's like, and he walks away. He makes a good point. So Will is like, yeah, Jazz, you right. I need to get back with Carlton so I can get this thing accomplished, so I can get Trey to come out here. So Will runs up on Carlton. He's like, hey, how many signatures did you get? He's like, I got a few more, whatever. And they're basically like, listen, we both need to work this out. We both got deals with, Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. So let's just make this thing happen together. Let's just get along just so we can accomplish this thing, So Carlton's on some like, yeah, you're right. Let's just make it happen and get it done. All right. So now we see Will out there campaigning, trying to get these signatures. So he's doing some special deals for the people. He's talking to the people about his uncle. And, he's mowing the lawn for the dude. He's like, yeah, I'll do this and do that. So, Will got the gift of gab. And he's definitely talking to the people. And they're definitely kind of feeling what he's saying. And Will is doing a great job, right? He's out there really talking to the people. And he's getting a lot of signatures. And they're getting it done. They just getting it done. He's up there drinking lemonade with grandma. He's definitely doing his thing. And the guy's like, yeah, over there, get over there too. So Will is doing whatever it takes to get these signatures. And yeah, they get a lot of signatures. I think they really get all 50 signatures that they need in order for the deal to go through for Carlton and the deal to go through for Will. So, they're kind of happy about it, even though they had a little discrepancy before. It seems like, they're like brothers, even though they're cousins, they're like brothers. But yeah, Will is going to do whatever it takes, and Carlton as well. So they talk about how Will invited the whole community to come out to this roller skating thing. It was supposed to be private, but Uncle Phil's like, yeah, we can't, see how many people are coming in. And at the same time, we can't gauge the questions. So I don't know what they're going to ask. And, Will is just like, yo, this is going to be great for the community. And he asked Carlton to back him up. And Carlton actually backs him up and says, yeah, man, like this will be really good. So you'll be in touch with the people. They want to see who you are. They want to see what's going on. So, Phil is kind of hesitant, but he's like, you know what? Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Will is just like, yeah, this will be great, man. Like, come on. They was really trying to get him connected to the people because the people need to know who Uncle Phil is. They kind of feel like he's this rich guy and that he's above them. But, Uncle Phil goes with it. And he's like, all right, let's do it. So now we're at the roller skating rink. They got this cardboard figure of Uncle Phil up there. And they're having a great time, right? Carlton's out there. Hillary's out there. They're skating. They're getting it on, kind of like ATL, right? Kind of like, roll bounce, right? So they out there dancing, roller skating and everything else like that. And we see Lisa and Aunt Viv. And she's like, oh, it's so good to see you. And they're talking about her mom. And Aunt Viv was like, yeah, your mom would love this right now. You and your mom are so close. And she's really just trying to be encouraging to Lisa, knowing that her mom passed away. And she's trying to be like, an aunt or a mom to Lisa to make her feel good, about everything. Because, she's missing her mom. She's missing her mom. So Aunt Viv, Lisa, definitely a good talk, right? So now we see little Ashley. She got cautious. She's feeling bad. She's a little bored. She don't got her friends there or whatever. So she kind of feels alone. I think everybody's kind of been there, right? You kind of feel like out of place. So this cool Jeffrey comes along. He's like, yeah, I know you kind of feeling some type of way or whatever, but it's going to be all good. Don't even worry about it. Jeffrey, he's a cool dude, man. This dude is a totally different Jeffrey, man. Like he's handling a whole lot of things. He's like, I took the liberty of inviting your friends, and here's her friends roll up. It's like, hey, Ashley. And yeah, she is super happy to see her little friends at the roller skating rink, right? Again, it was supposed to be private, but Jeffrey made it happen, even though she kind of snuck off or whatever. Jeffrey's a cool dude, man. You're a cool dude. So we see Will. He's in the bathroom, whatever. And we see this officer roll up in the bathroom. Gonna find out this guy is Lisa's dad. Lisa's dad is the chief of police. And Will is just like, oh, when I saw you before, I didn't see you with a uniform. He's like, yeah, I'm the chief of police, blah, 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 right? So Will, he has his feelings about the police, right? Because of what happened in Philly. how they, roughed him up, locked him up. So he's looking at the badge. He's looking at, all types of stuff on Lisa's, father, right? Because he got his uniform on. So he's flashing back to when the cops roughed him up, put him on the fence. He's looking at the strap and everything, and he is really not feeling what's going on. And he's just reminiscing about his whole experience, his terrible experience that he pretty much got himself into, right? So he's getting kind of nervous, kind of sweating, anxiety's going on or whatever. And yeah, he's thinking about when he was getting locked up and how they threw him in and how cold it was. And the guy's like, hey, you okay? Lisa's dad like, you okay? It's all right. Don't worry. You're not in trouble. Don't worry about it. So he walks out and, Will is definitely still traumatized as to what happened. So whenever he sees police or any person of authority, he definitely feels some type of way. So he rolls over to Lisa, right? Because he feels some type of way. He's like, why didn't you tell me your dad was the chief of police? And she was like, well, I didn't think I had to. Like, I didn't think that was important or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And Will kind of explains a little bit to her that, what he went through back home, it definitely affected him and everything. And, it's not really Lisa's fault. Like, Lisa didn't know all that. Lisa didn't know that he's going through his traumatic experience and everything else like that. So you can't even blame Lisa. You can't even be mad at her. That's her dad. And y'all didn't even get to that point. Y'all friends, B. Y'all friends. But again, she's like, okay, I'm sorry about that, whatever. And then she walks away. So we seeing, Will going through this, right? Will's still going through it. So now we see Carlton. And Carlton's up there, making a little speech for his father, saying how proud he is and how he put all this together. And yeah, it's looking like a good look for Uncle Phil to put all this together, bring the community out, have a little fun. And he introduces his dad to everybody there, right? So Uncle Phil goes up, and now it's time for Uncle Phil to shine. It's time for Uncle Phil to do his thing. So he's like, yeah, I'm not going to bore you with boring speeches or anything like that. But if you have any questions, definitely, shoot your questions to me and we'll see how we can get them answered. Of course, Aunt Viv looking on, being supportive, being the great wife that she is. So a lady asks a question. She says, what are you going to do about this gangster law, that extends time for young boys who, get locked up or whatever. So definitely Uncle Phil is like, yeah, we're going to do our best to make sure that we don't allow the prosecution to extend or go after that law to use it to give our young men more time, right? So they're clapping about that, right? And as the D, he says, if I'm elected, I'll make sure that happens, right? So he's like, next question. So they ask about, what about the corrupt police, right? And people like defund. So he takes a breath. He's like, yes, I believe that defunding the police is definitely critical. Absolutely, there needs to be a new approach. And even if, it does offend the police or whoever it is, we got to do what we have to do to make change. So, of course, we see the chief of police there, which is Lisa's dad. And he's looking at him like, really? That's how you really feel? That's how you really getting down? Yeah. So the people are clapping. And yeah, he says, if I'm elected, we're going to make some change. So, of course, it looks like, either Lisa's dad is feeling that or he's not really feeling that. As the chief of police, he's probably not feeling that. So he's like, next question. So they go through it and they have a good time. They go back home to the Banks estate. And everybody's like, man, you did your thing, Uncle Phil. Everybody's really encouraging to Uncle Phil. And yeah, Aunt Viv, she's really encouraging Uncle Phil, right? So they're like starting to smooch or whatever. And of course, the kids are like, man, get a room. Like, they're like, man, we don't want to see all that. Right. So they're laughing and everything else like that. And Jeffrey comes out of nowhere and he makes a good point. He said, do you not realize that's how you guys got here? Jeffrey's funny, man. He's not even a cool dude, but he's funny too, right? So Jeffrey's like, yeah, I hate to rain on your parade, but, me and you, Uncle Phil, we got to talk. We got to talk about some things, right? And it's probably about Rashad Denton, right? So he's like, all right. So they go into the office to talk. And the family definitely goes to their room. So here's Carlton and Will. And they're like, yeah, man, we did it. We made it happen. Even though we had a little discrepancy, man, we can make greater things happen together, man. So, Carlton is really being cool about it. He's like, yo, man, you did your thing. I'm proud of you. And they just saying how proud of they are for each other and with each other. That they finally came together, put their differences aside to make something happen, something for the greater good, something bigger outside of themselves. So they give each other a pound, man. You know, they look like they're going to start getting along. Hopefully they do, right? So Hillary's sitting there. She's on the phone. And her mom comes through, brings a little probably adult beverage or whatever, because, you know, Hillary's grown. And they're sitting down, and Hillary's excited. She's like, oh, man, I just got the news. This is great, blah, blah, blah. She's like, what is it? She's like, well, these content creators, you know, they're going to allow me to stay in their home for free. And yeah, I'm just going to be creating content with them, da, 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 da. And of course, Aunt Viv is on some like, for free? Are you serious? She's like, listen, ain't nothing in life for free. I don't know if I'm comfortable with this arrangement about you being in here. And Hillary's like, yo, why don't you just say congratulations? Like, why does it always have to be, you know, the way you want it to be? Like, things are different, right? Again, Hillary just trying to be herself, trying to make her way, trying to find her way. But her mom is just always saying things, that whatever's on her mind. And Hillary's like, yo, why can't you just be, you know, congratulate me? And then she walks away. And Aunt Viv is like, yeah, you know, Uncle Phil had a point. I'm always saying what's on my mind, right? So now we see Will. He's reading that book that Uncle Phil gave him, The Alchemist, from the last episode. And she goes up to talk to Will, right? And she's like, okay, Will, looks like, you know, that deal that we made, as far as you getting the signatures and getting along with Carlton and everything else like that. And Will's looking like, okay, he's smiling like, okay, what's it gonna be? He's like, well, we made a deal. You and Carlton came through with those signatures. You did your thing. We're gonna have Trey come out for the weekend. Of course, Will is excited. He's like, oh, thank you so much, Aunt Viv. I love you. I love you. And she's happy. You know, she's happy about definitely you know, helping out Will and his friends. And, you know, when Will is happy, she's happy. You know, that's her nephew. She just wants him to, you know, be good all around, emotionally, mentally, everything. After what he's gone through, you know, she definitely wants to be there for him. So that makes her feel good as well, even though she, you know, her and Hillary's not getting along. So, yeah, Will gets on FaceTime with Trey. And she's just, again, Aunt Viv definitely coming through, being a woman of her word. So Trey is like, okay, cool, man. That's what's up. I'm going to be able to come out to Bel-Air. Da-da-da-da-da. He said, but yo, I got some news for you. Rashad is dead. And Will is like, what? He's like, what? He's like, yeah, man. Like, he's gone. He's not chasing after us anymore. He's like, are you serious, man? And Will is like, I can't believe it. And Trey is like, yeah, man, we don't got to worry about nothing no more, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's gone. They pull the strap on him in the strip club. So Will is like, whoa, what is going on? And then he thinks, and he's like, yo, Jeffrey said he was going to take care of it. And it looks like Jeffrey did take care of it. Yeah, I told you your boy Jeffrey is well connected, fam. So that is the recap for episode 4. Definitely a really good recap. We seeing a lot of different things come through, you know. Yeah, Jeffrey, man, is well connected. Like, this is a totally different Jeffrey, man. Totally different Jeffrey. And absolutely, Uncle Phil's coming through. Everybody's coming through on this episode. So, again, thank you for watching. Absolutely drop your thoughts, your theories. If you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're loving Bel-Air, hit that subscribe button. Definitely comment below. And we're gonna continue to do this. You know, I'm gonna continue to do these recaps for you. Again, Bel-Air goes way harder than Fresh Prince. Let's continue to check that out, talk about it, discuss it, and absolutely look out for something new coming to VACAY-JTV. And I appreciate you guys for watching always. Thank you for the love and support. That's right. So you know what it is. It's your man, VACAY-J. And until next time, salute.